Hello everyone and welcome to Out of My Tree. I'm Sally and I love everything Dollar Tree, design, DIY, and decor. If you're new to this channel, I'd love for you to subscribe by clicking subscribe and the bell icon down below so that you can be notified every time that I upload a new video. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to use this head massager from Dollar Tree to make something truly unique. For this project, you'll need a head massager from the Dollar Tree, moss, some jute twine, a bag of the Dollar Tree branches, and river rocks or gravel color of your choice. Also not pictured here are the amaranthus leaves from Dollar Tree, as well as the cherry blossoms. So we are going to begin by removing the head massager. And this is what it looks like when you take it out. Woo! Lots of fun. Gentle, relaxing. Okay, enough of that. So initially when I saw this, I remembered that it had a pointed handle on it, which is fine. We're gonna be covering it up anyway, but what I thought of when I saw this was that it kind of took on the shape of a spring tree. Essentially that these would be our stems, branches, and could bend them down. This would be the tree trunk, and then put some moss and maybe, depending on how it comes out, put some of the flowering cherry blossoms from the Dollar Tree on there too. Just depends on what you like. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is take my twine, just have it in a little bundle here, and my hot glue, and I'm literally just gonna start at the bottom and then wrap it, glue it every so often until I get to the base before the tines come out, and see how I like that. So we'll get started. Anybody ever tell you hot glue's hot? Imagine. So I'm just gonna wrap it, and then every now and again, just put a little bit of hot glue to keep the wraps in place. And this can be as neat or as messy as you want it to be, because essentially it's gonna be your tree. So it can come in any shape, size that you like. I am not trying to be very neat with this. I like things to look a little messy. Some people call that deliberate. I call them what Bob Ross calls them, happy accidents. Okay, so I've come to the top or the base before the tines come out, and then as I look, I realize that I've missed a few spots. So again, I'm literally just gonna keep winding it around and gluing in a little bit of extra for those areas until I get back down to the bottom. Okay, so now that I've gotten back down to the bottom, I'm gonna make my final little stick of hot glue here. And then cut that off. Okay, so notice how the bottom is a bit frayed from where I started, and the point that was on the tip of that, no problem, because we're gonna hide it anyway. You can wrap it if you like, but again, nobody's gonna see it, so it's really not a big deal. I'll just cut off the little frayed edge there. One of the other things that people like about twine is that it has the little fuzzies on it, so it looks a little more rustic. But if you don't like that, a really good tip is to take a lighter and just very briefly swipe it across the tips of that, and it burns it, the little fibers, it burns it off right away. So it might look more neat and clean design-wise if you do that. So what I've started to do now is to take the tines that are curved and begin just bending them in any random direction. I do like the messiness of a lot of trees, just the odd angles of them, along with birds barren trees with just a few leaves or flowers on them are some of my favorite.
Just like this one. Isn't nature awe-inspiring?
So I am literally just bending these in any random order until I get a shape that I like. You might like to actually keep the really pretty dome shape, which reminds me of a lot of, I can't think of the name of the tree, more like not a sky pencil tree, but I can't remember if it's a sycamore or a thuja tree. Anyway, they have a much more rounded appearance, and people use those for borders and boundaries, driveways, that kind of thing. They grow really quickly. Somebody out there will know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so I'm just continuing to bend and shape them until I'm happy with it. Okay, so now I've got the basic idea and shape that I like. I took some of them and crossed them over in the middle. These bend incredibly easily because I wanted it to look a little more authentic. There's not necessarily a perfect pattern, so that depends on you. But I'm pretty happy with this shape. I think it looks like a barren, wintry, almost spring tree there. And then what I'm gonna do is begin to wrap each of these with the twine again. Okay, so now I have a couple of the branches of this tree wrapped up. I'm gonna show you very quickly how to do that. So if you look on the inside, where you separated the tines, it is a little flat there. So all I do is put a dab of glue next to the tine that I am going to be using. And then I simply, sorry, that's a little hard to see. I put the twine right in that dab of glue, okay, and hold it for a second until it dries. All right, so once that little dab of glue is dried, you can kind of tug on it to see. Then I am going to wrap the closest tine that is bent towards it. And it's so simple. It is literally just wrapping it around and around and around, as tight or as loosely as you like. I'm doing mine pretty decently tight. And what you'll notice is that it's making these really little tiny layers. To me, looks like bark. Maybe I'm just that imaginative. I don't know. And so literally you just keep twisting until you get to a point where you want to put a little hot glue on there. Now what I'm doing is putting the hot glue up a little bit further than where my fingers are so that I don't burn them. I'm using Gorilla Glue sticks, so they actually stay pretty liquid for a few moments longer than the Dollar Tree glue sticks. Now, I'm not knocking the Dollar Tree glue sticks, because when you gotta have glue, you gotta have glue, and $1 is a good deal. But for a lot of the DIYs that I like to keep permanent, I really do enjoy the Gorilla Glue because it lasts a lot longer. So literally, I am just wrapping and wrapping and wrapping, and in just a second I'll show you what it looks like when you get to the top. Okay, so here at the end, trying to figure out, there you go. There's just a little tiny rubber nub thing, and all I'm gonna do, literally, finish my wrap, and then put a hot glue dab, teeny tiny, and then just hold it right to the end or the tip of it till it dries, and then cut it off. So you are going to do the same thing for all the rest of the time. So now that I've gotten all the branches covered, there are some areas that I didn't wrap as tightly as others, and perfectly fine. The silver shows through maybe a little bit. Hey, it's a silver birch. I don't know. One of the things that I thought about too as I was wrapping is that if you don't like the color of your jute and you wanted a darker bark color, or if you wanted to variate the colors, just a tiny little swap of paint across it should be good enough to give it another realistic bark look if you like the darker wood. But I'm gonna stick with the light for now. So I'm moving on to the moss phase of the project. And just another quick tip is I like to take any cardboard boxes that are laying around. This one happens to be the frozen pizza from Aldi that we had for tonight's dinner. And I put that underneath my moss. That way I can collect it and pour it back into a container a lot easier for the next time that I need to use it. So we are going to take our tree and the stand. So one of the things that you can do is get those terracotta pots from the Dollar Tree. Another small planter. They have beautiful colored and textured planters. I personally am going to go with kind of a fluted look that they had from the Dollar Tree back in, I think, the summer of last year. And then I'm also going to take these wooden sticks pieces that the Dollar Tree had. They came in a craft bag. You know, I bought 4 or 5 of them at the time that I saw them in one Dollar Tree, and I've never seen them since. I really do hope they bring these back. I know it's as simple as going outside and cutting down some of your own branches, but not everybody lives in an area that branches are readily available on the ground. So I do appreciate sometimes when Dollar Tree has things like this. So I particularly like this wooden look. You could easily also fill up your container with gravel or the river rock, whatever you particularly like. So I'm just placing my little branch pieces into the container just enough that once I stick it in, I can hold it and get an idea of what it's gonna look like. Easy peasy. I'm just gonna take 2 of the little branch pieces and I'm gonna stick one on each side of what is the stem of this. And then I will fill it up with some other filler branches and stick it on top so that it sits a little bit higher. So once I have glued around some of the branches, it sits more evenly flat. So notice that my little vase here is not completely filled up with branches. So I am going to put some moss down in there. And again, you can put river rock, whatever you like, whatever color scheme you want to go for. I'm just going to tuck some moss in here at random. And then stick my tree in there. Now, it is right now wobbling. I, by no means, am going to make this permanent right now. So I don't have any plans to hot glue this inside the vase or the jar. Just for the moment, I want to see how it turns out first, and then I'll determine how permanent I want to make it. You never know, I might go back and find one of those beautiful colored planters from the Dollar Tree and put it in that instead. I'm going to look at how I can adorn it with some of this moss. So give me a moment. Now that I've had a chance to play around with it a little bit, the really cool thing about this moss is that it naturally sticks to the fibers of the jute twine. So that's good. You almost could just rub it up and down like this. And it adheres in random spots that you can then glue on. So when I first looked at it, I thought, okay, this is going to look like a swamp tree, but maybe not. The more that I add, the fuller that it gets. So I'm going to keep going, see how I like it. So the easiest way that I found was just to take a clump of the moss, and once you know where you want to put it, it literally just sticks like that. We're going to shake it off in the end because moss is messy and it's going to fall off. So if you don't want your tree to shed, that will be a necessary step. Okay guys, so at this stage in the game, it's looking pretty rough, but I am on a path. I have a vision. So I took some of these cherry blossoms, and they have the little leaves already attached to them. And then Let me show you. So I was playing around with some of the Dollar Tree florals that I recently picked up. And I have some of the cherry blossoms, and they have their own little leaves, though they're sparse. And then I picked up this beautiful amaranthus. And in this, there are two different types of leaves. They have more of a delicate fern leaf and this really delicate, tiny, pretty, singular leaf. So what I decided to do was, using the cherry blossoms, I would also go ahead and attach those very teeny tiny amaranthus leaves here and there. So I'd like to show you that when I'm working with these flowers, they have a base to them. And in order to adhere to this a little bit better, I'm just going to clip that off. Put a dab of glue wherever you want it. So I think I'll put you right there. And just hold it down. All right, guys. Well, I've gotten it to a point where I'm pretty happy with it. And there it is, you guys. I actually really like the way this turned out. I bet it's unlike any tree you have ever seen before. Let's see a picture of what it looks like in the sunshine in my classroom tomorrow.
I really love it in my classroom, and I think this is where it's going to stay. One of my colleagues said that it looks like a flowering quince tree that she used to have. Tell me what you think.
If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. And until I see you again, have a blessed day. Bye.